What went wrong? The consolidation of power is what went wrong. One of the strengths of the legal system is that you usually have one defendant and a bunch of jurors. That means that no juror can feel like they're worth more than a single person. This is really important. Out of the gate, it's humbling. You have the power to influence the life of someone else, but there's many of you deciding usually over one person. This is how to manage power. Give it to many and entrust it to all of them. What if you flip it around? Now, there's one juror and 12 defendants. If that juror isn't careful, this ability to influence many others is going to get to their head. It's a single person deciding the fate of many. It doesn't seem significant, but what happens is an internal battle with the ego on some level, where the logical conclusion is to believe that you're more valuable than a single person, and this is simply due to being able to influence the lives of a larger group. The takeaway is that this ability to influence many others, even if you're in a small group yourself, truly takes a mental toll on how you see yourself and how you see them. If you're unable to manage it correctly, let's say by humbling yourself and realizing that you're a meat sack just like them, then you simply will not give 100% to the role, regardless of the requirements. It's important to understand the knock-on effects. It means you'll look down on others, think you're above them or the system itself, not take your role seriously, and just not care enough. Let's apply this to politicians. Politicians as a group have the ability to influence the lives of potentially millions of people, and that responsibility, which could be handled by everyone together, is instead jammed into the mind of a politician along with a greater understanding of the world, and they're expected to handle all of it. This is where we went wrong. That role involves first and foremost an absolute internalized war, where they have to fight themselves in order to beat down that responsibility so that it doesn't affect their decision making. Before we factor anything else in, if their intention is to do their best for all people, then it is an extremely hard role in terms of the mental impact it has on you. This has never been discussed, and it's one of the most important things about the position. It is far too easy to conclude that you're worth more than another human due to the responsibility of the role, and if that happens, it's an absolute disaster for the entire world. Think about this. They have your understanding of the world, which means people don't even know how to hold them accountable, and you're trusting them to drive the country for you, and there's people coming to them with half-baked conclusions and getting mad. At this stage, they have to weather a massive lack of understanding from their own citizens in order to basically protect them from themselves. On the other side, well-informed businessmen, corporations, making sensible arguments sometimes put together by armies of professionals, or even just saying, look, here's some investment suggestions for your wife's portfolio. Now we're looking to get your support for this. And so what are you going to pick? It's a stupid amount of power, and they used it to sell out entire countries legally. It's the only conclusion that makes sense when you examine the world. But let's expand anyway. Due to democracy, basically everything has to go through politicians, which means they have our collective knowledge. Experts in all fields have to go to them to explain what not to do and why not to do it. They were never wanting for knowledge. They understand what we know. That's how this works. People think they're stupid or lack knowledge because they talk shit. Intelligence can vary, but the depth of knowledge they have available to them is nothing short of incredible. They can't be blindsided. I'm time limited. Computers solved the labour shortage in the 1970s. Since then, in basically all democracies, immigration policies haven't changed to reflect that at some points, and it's been on both sides. Basically, you couldn't have voted your way out of economic destruction, and they never said anything about driving down the wages for decades. And remember, professionals do warn them, there's no accidents here. They don't care, and if you're in America, they're never going to care. There is about 1,000 harsh truths between a regular person and a politician. For example, the knowledge that war is the most profitable way to generate income. Think on that. They've sent generations to die knowing full well that it's mainly about money. It's something they have to know because they're the ones that actually have to sign off. If that's true, then how did we make it this far? To put it simply, this world is so plentiful that through the 60s and early 70s, they had room to work for you and private interests as well. It took a long time to tighten the Earth's belt. Computers, favourable policies for private interests, bank bailouts, endless wars. We really could have had our cake and eaten it too, built a system you all wanted to support. But politicians said no basically, and people didn't know enough to stop them, and the ones who did know got what they wanted. Despite all this, you could say that the politicians have protected you from private interests by selling your future out from under you, but this has created monsters worse than them. Even if you're doing well now, good luck in 5 years when the rule of law has to deal with many people who see no future worth having. If enough people can look politicians square in the eyes and tell them that they've ruined everything, then the wheels fall off politics. They were always just legalizing theft while creating a system that supports people that have been intentionally weakened. They entrenched themselves by fostering this weakness and then proceeded to destroy us. How did they foster weakness? It comes down to their perspective and their knowledge. If they tried their best to help make people as responsible as possible on an individual level, they would have less to do. Compare that perspective to the schooling system we have. How much do you remember from school? Fuck all. Teachers are great, but the curriculum in no way justifies the time spent. It wastes far too much time, and the evidence is everywhere. And they could have fixed it, which would have made their jobs easier, but they didn't. So people come out clueless about the real world on purpose. I find it harder to blame homeless people for their situation when they probably gave the government 10 to 12,000 hours to make them the equivalent of a professional citizen. It's an absolute overkill amount of time, and it was wasted as well. Even years later, if it doesn't pertain to having kids or getting a job, the vast majority of people don't know anything worth knowing. This is the risk we took. I'd say that studying these freaks blackens the heart. Politicians have done more damage than anyone else the feds who protect them will ever arrest. Almost all of the court caseload could have been prevented. We had qualified people warning them the whole time. We're mostly dealing with problems that never should have existed. This is what the consolidation of power can do. It's rotted them from the inside, and they've in turn rotted entire countries from within. Who made talking shit such a lucrative career? Governments are great, until you have to deal with the consequences.